we have an event here in Mississippi. So I want to give them a big thanks. I think we inspired Oxford to kick in, and they have an event now too. They're doing a cleanup at their community garden and a bicycle ride around the town. So Oxford's in on this too today. In a short while, we're going to get started on the work party part of this, and we're going to probably make the streets in Fondren cleaner than they've been in a long time. One of the themes of today is think global, act local. And let me explain an example of that. When we go around today, we're going to find all kinds of trash and plastic and stuff, but we're going to find a lot of these plastic bottle caps. Now, when these plastic bottle caps lay on the ground here, they sit there until the rain comes, probably next year sometime, and then they'll wash down to the lower parts of the streets, and maybe into the storm sewer. But almost all the water around here goes into Eubanks Creek. That's our watershed. Water from here enters Eubanks Creek probably about 4 blocks to the east of here. So these bottle caps, they float down Eubanks Creek. They hit the Pearl River and float down the Pearl River till they hit the Gulf of Mexico. They get out there in the Gulf Stream, and they float for years and decades all over the world. And one of the places they accumulate is where ocean currents come together. Charlotte, can you hold up that? Here. Let me grab this. So north of Hawaii, there's an area where there's a bunch of uninhabited islands. And this is a picture of the beaches on that uninhabited island where volunteers go out every year and pick up hundreds of tons of plastic that float up on these uninhabited islands. These pieces of plastic come from everywhere, including Jackson, Mississippi. Now, these islands are also a breeding ground for a very important bird, the albatross. We don't have any albatrosses around here, but there are 21 subspecies of albatross. 19 of them are endangered. And the most amazing bird, I think, on the planet is the great albatross. It is huge. I wish they were around here, but their wingspan is 11 feet. Let me show you how big 11 feet is. Charlotte, why don't you hold that? A bird with a wingspan that wide is a giant albatross. Great albatross. And these birds have their nesting areas in these uninhabited islands. And one of the foods that they eat are little floating pieces of food that have mossy stuff on them. But they mistake these bottle caps and other things to be wood, and they ingest them. They can't digest them, so they sit in their stomachs. And worse, they bring these back to the nest. For the young albatrosses that have never left the nest, they get their stomachs full of plastic, which makes them feel like they're full, they don't get enough nutrition, and they die. And that's one of the reasons why they're becoming extinct. Biologists found one dead albatross and cut it open. This is the plastic they found inside this bird. I've got a picture of just the plastic alone. And you can look at this later, but you'll see bottle caps, cigarette lighters, little plastic plungers, all kinds of little trash of plastic that comes from all over the world. And 2 baseball-sized clumps of plastic. So that's where one of the millions of places that this plastic that's on our streets ends up. Charlotte and I were in the Amazon rainforest last year living with a tribe there. They don't use any plastic. They don't know anything about it. But yet plastic bottles and stuff come floating down the river and they wonder, what is this stuff? So it goes everywhere. And, you know, one thing that got me thinking about this oil spill that happened in the Gulf this summer, and we probably all followed it kind of closely. It makes you think about oil spills in a new way. And one thing is to think that it isn't over just because they plugged the leak. The carcinogens that move up the food chain from the stuff in the Gulf is now 40 times greater than it was before the oil spill. And there's an area of seabed that's hundreds of square miles that has over an inch of oil sludge on the seabed now. But if you think about oil spills, all this plastic is from oil too, and now that's spilled all over the planet. That's really an oil spill too, but it's something we can do something about and clean up right here locally. And if you look at all the vehicles with tanks of gas, as soon as those cars start moving, and out the tailpipe comes another type of oil spill, and that's CO2, carbon dioxide, which goes up into our atmosphere. Before we started burning fossil fuels, there was 280 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. As of last June, it was 391 parts per million. Now, carbon dioxide traps heat on our planet and makes the planet warmer. And scientists say that unless we can get that carbon dioxide level down to 350 or lower, we are going to have spiraling increases in global temperature. The planet set a temperature record this past June that broke the record of this past May, that broke the record of this past April. So we've been getting warmer as a planet every month here lately. The organization behind this event is called 350.org, and that's why the 350, to get the carbon in the atmosphere down to 350 parts per million. Now, we know that one day isn't going to make that big of a difference, so we're going to have to keep doing events like this, both as a group and individually. Now, the next event that I would recommend as a group around here is next Friday. There's a cleanup on Eubanks Creek. And Art Minton here is going to say hi. Art Minton is one of the people leading up that effort. I think the group will meet at what, 9 a.m.?
10:30.
10:30 at the bridge down by Old Canton Road.
Well, it's going to be at the corner of Choctaw and Seminole, behind the old McRae.
Okay.
At the Make It Live.
Behind the old McRae.
Behind the old
Okay.
McRae.
Great.
It's right on the creek.
Okay.
And we need a head count they're going to provide lunch. One of the sponsors is going to provide lunch. It's from 10:30 to 12:30.
10:30 to 12:30.
If you want a lunch, you can RSVP on Facebook or whenever you make it.
And that same morning, we'll also be upgrading the bridge on Hawthorne Street over at Eubanks Creek and making it look real pretty. And individually, we've got packets on the table over here of 10,000 things you can do to stop global warming. And is a work in progress. We're really not at 10,000 yet, but there's over 700 ideas there. So plenty to find something new. The other thing is we need to let our politicians know that they also have to take part in this. And at the same table over there, there's a letter writing campaign called the Million Letter March from the Citizens Climate Lobby, and where you can write a letter to your congressperson and put it in the box. We'll make sure it gets to the congressperson and put on the website of Million Letter March, and we'll really make an impression on them. They say that handwritten letters make more of an impression than all the emails and things that you can click on. Okay, well, we're about ready to start the walk. How many people want to take part in the walk? Yeah.
Can I say one other
Yeah.
thing? That's not just Friends of Eubanks Creek doing that. The city is under a federal mandate to clean up its surface water.
Uh-huh.
And this is organized, this stream clean is organized by Neil Schaefer, a consulting engineer that the city has hired to help them figure out how to clean up the surface water.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, it's several sponsors.
Great. Now on this walk today, let me kind of explain how it's going to work, because we're inventing this as we go here. Everybody who wants to participate in the walk, you're going to get a tote bag from Rainbow Natural Grocery Cooperative. You're going to get a pedometer from the Conscious Living Project. You're going to get a Keep Pondering Funky sticker from the Fairtrade Green Store. And you're going to get, I'm missing something else.
Gloves.
Gloves.
12 of them.
We've got 12 pairs of bamboo gloves to give to people who are participating in the walk too. And we want people to kind of go out in pairs or groups of 3 or 4 and head off in any kind of direction you want, but we want you back in 30 minutes. And what we want to do when you come back is we want to total up how much stuff you picked up off the streets. Charlotte, can you go over? No, you're doing that. Let me go. You get points for what you pick up off the street. Every piece of trash or paper you get a point for. When you pick up plastic, you get 2 points, glass 3, and any kind of aluminum or metal you get 5 points for. And when you bring them back, one of you will have the tally sheet, and we'll see how many points you got, and we have gift certificates for the teams that get the most points. And we've got plenty of gift certificates, because you're going to probably win something.
From the neighborhood businesses.
They are. They're from neighborhood businesses. Selling Mookies, Walkers, a lot of good stuff. Now, also out there, this morning we went around within 2 to 3 blocks of Mimi's here, and we put some 50-cent pieces on the street. But they'll all be showing this side, which a bigger look of it is this. Find it in Fondren Funky 50. If you find one of these 50-cent pieces, you bring it back here, and we give you another 50-cent piece. Today only. And they're in pretty plain view, so good luck on that. Some of the guidelines: be safe. There's moving traffic out there, so don't get run over. Some of the things to leave, because there's some things that are pretty dangerous to pick up. If the most broken glass is very dangerous, so if you want to skip broken glass, we recommend that. We don't want anybody to get cut. Anything that looks like a biohazard, if it looks like it was waste product from humans or animals, leave it. If it's a real large or heavy object, we don't expect you to bring bricks and anvils back. Anything that belongs to people, like subscription newspapers or toys or tools left in the yard, don't take them. Only go a couple feet into the people's yards to pick up obvious trash. Also, if there's any trash that's already in a container, leave that. And if it's any kind of compostable stuff, leave that as well. Leaves, branches, anything like that. So also, don't tear up trash just to get more points. And don't just go for the high point items, go for anything you can find.
You want to tell them what I did? They probably shouldn't do that either this morning.
Oh, Charlotte wants me to tell you what she did this morning.
But you probably shouldn't.
Charlotte went by a storm sewer on Old Canton Road this morning and saw 3 aluminum cans and a plastic bottle down there and dove down into the storm sewer to get them. That's not recommended. Okay. So when everybody gets their package here to go out, you've got 30 minutes, and we'll blow a conch shell to kind of say we're starting. We'll blow a conch shell in 30 minutes to let you know to come back, and then we'll start tallying up the points, and when the points are tallied up, we'll give out the gift certificates. Anybody got any questions?